Hey guys, what is going on? Welcome back to another episode. Today I wanted to take a few minutes and talk about the drone versus the gorilla and the main differences between them, how they affect their power and everything. I get questions all the time about which one people should focus on. Should they focus on the drone? Should they focus more on the gorilla? And the answer is you kind of got to do both. You can't really focus on one more than the other just because well, the time to upgrade, the cost to upgrade, everything like that just takes so long at a certain point that trying to invest everything into one versus the other, you start to lose out on that return on investment, kind of like with tech. You can get so far into certain tech trees, and then after a while, you start to switch back to other ones just because the cost, say like Hero Tree, just becomes so expensive to upgrade, where it's 600 million gold for an upgrade, and maybe you only have a couple hundred million, and so you go and do, say, special forces upgrades or the siege or defense fortification, mastery tech, because those are cheaper to do. You may not get as great of a return, but it's better to do that than to continue to wait weeks and weeks to have enough gold than to do another upgrade. Though I really hope it doesn't take you weeks just to get a few million gold, a few hundred million gold. All right, with that out of the way, let's go ahead and run through what the drone does, how it affects your team, and then we'll talk about the gorilla and what it does and how it affects your teams. So the drone, it helps your team in actually three different ways. There's a lot of direct stats in here for your heroes, which are kind of like the key aspects of the drone. You do have the drone HP, the drone attack, all this stuff here. Yeah, that's fine, but the conversion rate, which is what's on the right side here, and what these kind of green indications are, that is the percent that is actually going to, say, your team. So if you click on this little icon here, and it's going to tell you my HP 2.5 million with a ratio of 17%. That is how much HP, attack, and defense is going to my heroes. So every time you level up the drone, you do increase the drone HP, attack, and defense, but then at every 5 levels, you do increase this ratio. So the percentage goes up, which means that more, even though you continue to increase the drone HP and it slightly increases, then you get this big little bump every time you get it up 5 levels. And that's where the big power comes in. It's not just the little levels here and there, it's getting every 5 levels and getting an extra 1% on that ratio to increase your hero power, increase that bonus that you're getting from those drone levels. And of course, the higher you get, the harder it is to level up the drone and get the drone parts in order to hit those levels. So even though you get some big gains, it takes a while to get there. And then the cost to get to those levels becomes extremely expensive. So that's drone levels. Let's talk about drone components. This is another big feature, which is going to give you a ton of drone power, but then in return, a ton of hero power as well. And then some of these directly just affect the heroes. So if you look at the missile here, this is why most players, whenever you get selection chest for the drone components, you always select missile, because this is so big for your team. You're getting attack, skill damage, and a percent increase for attack. And if you click on the little preview here, you can see the levels on this are just huge. Getting to level 8 is definitely the biggest jump, because you're doubling the attack, the fixed stat attack. You're getting 1.5% increase on the skill damage. And then, top of that, you're getting a 5% increase on attack. That's like what you get from a base skin. So it's pretty impressive, the amount of power the missile gives you when you get it to level 8. And then the other ones, if you click through these, you can see all the different stats that you're going to get. Some of these are going to be drone, some of these are going to be hero, and it just depends on which ones you're clicking on here, which ones you're leveling up. And it's not to say, hey, you need to focus on, say, the armor versus the radar here. Those, don't try to select those. Just open up boxes, level them up as you get them. This is the only one you should be focusing on when you're getting selection chests. And then similar to the actual drone levels, the components at first, they seem pretty quick to level up, but then when you realize the astronomical amount of drone components that you need just to get to the next level when you're at say level 8, you're trying to get to level 9, it's going to take you forever unless you're spending thousands of dollars every week. So my advice on the drone components is simple. Anywhere you can get drone components, make sure you're picking them up. Anytime you get them for free, make sure you're getting those. So if it's the luxury choice chest, get the drone components out of there because they're going to give you a ton of power. It just takes a little bit of time. But over time, I mean, that power just continues to add up, especially with the new feature where you just keep feeding these and you get these little stat increases every single level, which is absolutely huge. I'm glad they did that. And then same thing with the drone parts. My thing is I don't recommend buying drone parts unless you're, again, a big spender, whale, whatever that may be. I would suggest wait until they come around in different shops and they're super cheap and you get them for free, or different events where you may get them for free, or during holiday events. If you're going to spend something, buy a bunch of the holiday packs, do whatever the holiday event is, and a lot of the times they're going to have drone parts as part of like the little bonus gift that you get for spending X amount of dollars. So that's where I get a ton of drone components, because I wait until those holiday events come around. Or sorry, the drone components too. You'll see a lot of drone components in there. But then also the drone parts are usually free as well. Drone components, drone parts are usually really big in holiday events. Okay, last thing real quick is going to be the skill chips. These are extremely important for your team. If you run into somebody that I have that had the wrong skill chips on their team, say I had missile on my aircraft team and I go to attack somebody, I'm going to lose that fight and then turn around and I could put on my right skill chips and then I could win that fight easily. And it just makes a huge difference if you have the right skill chips on your team. So first of all, make sure you got the right skill chips on your right squads. That's always priority number 1. But then 2, when you're leveling these up, you want to get all the legendaries unlocked. So put all the legendaries on your team and focus on one squad at a time. Don't be trying to build all 3 squads. You're really not going to have 1, 2, and 3 open for a while anyways. So just focus on the main squad, whatever that's going to be, and get them all unlocked, get them all to level 2, and then get them to level 5 from there. These are going to give you a ton of stats, like either a shield with damage reduction. This one gives you increased attack for your troops, and this does additional bombing for the drone. So these affect both your heroes in the fight, and then also the drone attack as well. So these are definitely hero focused, team focused. And the drone components, again, that's going to be hero and some drone, depending on which the skill chip or the drone components you get. And then the levels, definitely more of the drone focused, but the conversion rates do kick back to the heroes. Okay, so switching over to the Overlord, when you click through here, there's a couple different things to note. First of all, the promotion levels you will see is all the Overlord. These don't have any stats for the heroes. There are a couple things with the skills that can help with the heroes and help with the fights. Like this one where it drains crit from the enemy team. So it drains 3.5% crit rate from 3 back row enemies. So that is pretty big when you're fighting. And then the other skills here, it's mostly just affecting the gorilla, where he's going to do more damage to the other team. And then it also reduces damage taken by itself. And then it reduces the damage taken by 1 additional unit, 2 additional units, and 3 additional units in the back row as you level this up. So higher levels, it helps your team out. Low levels, not so much. So when you first get into the monkey and you think you want to unlock the monkey because it's going to make a big difference for you, that's not so much the case. It's the long-term, long game. Whenever you're leveling this thing up and you get it really high, say you get it up to, what is this? I forgot the Warlord. Here you go. Warlord, and then the champion. Once you get it up to this level, these levels, that is where you're going to start to see a really big defense. It's going to have some damage reduction and things like that with it. But overall, the promote and the skills are going to be more geared towards the Overlord itself. It helps in the fight, but it doesn't really give your heroes stats. And again, it's high levels to where this guy really starts to make an impact. So if you're thinking you're going to unlock him and he's going to make a big impact, like I said before, it's just not until you get him leveled up really high. So you have to put a ton of money into this thing to make him really impactful. Now going over to the training tab. This is where you're going to get the big gains for your heroes. When you click on these icons here, you'll see hero attack is increasing defense and HP. So every single one of these levels is directly affecting your hero attack, HP, and defense. And this is why I tell people all the time, it's not so much about unlocking the gorilla that gives you a ton of power and makes your teams really good. It's these levels for the training that give you a ton of power. The higher you get, the better the increases are, but the cost is also increasing as well. And then you also have the bond badges. So if you go back to this page here, instead of clicking on the little icons for the training, click on the promote ranking. And these bond badges, you can see every time you upgrade with the bond badge, it gives your squad additional attack, HP, and defense, but then it's also giving the Overlord march size. And as you know, the more troops you carry in your march, the more morale, all that stuff. So the higher the bond rating, the more troops you can carry, and it gives you a little extra stats for your team as well. And this is another place where your Overlord is going to get a ton of additional stats. All right, so all that to say, it is very important to work on both of these at the same time. Don't just leave one and focus on the other. It's going to be important to just continue to level these up and try to get as much as like the either drone components, drone parts, the training certificates for the gorilla, or the skill medals, promotion, shards for the gorilla. Anywhere you can pick those up, just try to pick them up. If you're a free-to-play player, just try to pick those up everywhere for free you can. If you're a spender, there's a lot of different events where you can try to pick those up, all this stuff up at a reasonable cost, especially during holiday events. Unfortunately, they're never going to include the Overlord at holiday events just because it's not available until later in the game. Same thing like weapon shards. We're not going to see those in holiday events unless the devs decide to just throw in weapon shards at the start of the game, which I don't think is going to happen. So unfortunately, the gorilla gets left out on that. But anyways, guys, I hope that helps explain the differences between the drone and the gorilla. These impact the game in so many different ways. I was just trying to give a quick overview on why it's important to focus on both and not just like leave one in the dust, so to speak. But as always, guys, thanks again for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.